Stop scrolling. What you're about to see will change the way you look at everything around you. Right now, at this very moment, there's something hiding in plain sight. Something so disturbing that once you notice it, you'll never be able to unsee it. I'm not talking about conspiracy theories or urban legends. I'm talking about reality itself, the fabric of our everyday lives that we've all accepted without question. But here's the thing. When you actually stop and examine it closely, when you peel back the layers we've been conditioned to ignore, what you find underneath is absolutely chilling. In this video, I'm going to show you 7 examples that will make your skin crawl. These aren't hidden in dark corners of the internet or locked away in classified documents. They're right in front of you. They're in your home, in your pocket, in the streets you walk every day. The closer you look, the more disturbing it gets. And I need to know something from you right now. Before we dive into this rabbit hole together, I want you to do something for me. Drop a comment below and tell me, what city are you watching this from? Because what I'm about to reveal affects every single person on this planet, no matter where you are. Whether you're in New York, Tokyo, London, Mumbai, Sao Paulo, or anywhere else, you're not immune to this. So comment your city name right now. Let's see how global this really is, and trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why I'm asking. You'll realize that geography doesn't matter when it comes to what we're about to uncover. Are you ready? Because there's no going back after this. Once you see what I'm about to show you, your perception of reality will never be the same again. Let's begin. We live in a world of layers. On the surface, everything seems normal, routine, safe. We wake up, go about our days, interact with technology, consume media, and return home without ever questioning the systems that govern our lives. But what if I told you that this comfort, this normalcy, is carefully constructed? What if the things we trust most are actually the things we should fear? Human beings are pattern recognition machines. Our brains evolved to spot dangers quickly, to identify threats before they strike. But in our modern world, we've become complacent. We've stopped looking closely at the patterns around us. We've accepted convenience over scrutiny. And in doing so, we've opened the door to something far more sinister than our ancestors could have ever imagined. This isn't about paranoia. This is about awareness. This is about taking off the blinders that society has placed on us and seeing the truth that's been hidden in plain sight all along. Because here's what they don't want you to know. The most disturbing things aren't hidden at all. They're everywhere. They're normalized. They're so embedded in our daily routines that we've become blind to them. Think about your morning routine. You wake up to an alarm on your phone, check your notifications, scroll through social media while having coffee, maybe watch some news, and head out into a world filled with cameras, screens, and constant connectivity. Seems innocent enough, right? But look closer. Look at what's really happening beneath the surface. Every action you take is being recorded, analyzed, and monetized. Every choice you make is being influenced by algorithms designed to manipulate your behavior. Every moment of your life is being transformed into data that feeds a system you didn't consent to and can't escape from. And that's just the beginning. What we're going to explore today goes far deeper than privacy concerns or data collection. We're going to examine the psychological, social, and existential implications of the world we've built. We're going to look at how architecture manipulates your emotions, how language controls your thoughts, how technology rewires your brain, and how the very fabric of society has been designed to keep you docile, distracted, and dependent. Each chapter in this video will reveal another layer of the disturbing reality we inhabit. Some of what you'll see might seem small at first, trivial even, but that's precisely the point. It's the small things, the details we overlook, that reveal the most about the true nature of our world. It's the microscopic cracks in the facade that show us what's really holding everything together. I want you to approach this with an open mind, but also with healthy skepticism. Don't just believe what I'm telling you. Look for yourself, verify, question. Because the goal here isn't to make you paranoid or hopeless. The goal is to make you aware. Awareness is the first step toward change. You can't fight what you can't see, and you can't escape a prison if you don't know you're in one. So as we journey through these 7 disturbing revelations, I want you to pay attention not just to what I'm saying, but to how it makes you feel. Notice your reactions. Notice if you feel defensive, skeptical, or perhaps a creeping sense of recognition. These emotional responses are data points too. They tell you something important about yourself and about the world you've been conditioned to accept. Remember, reality doesn't change based on whether or not you acknowledge it. The truth exists independently of your awareness of it. But your life, your choices, your future, those things absolutely depend on whether you're willing to look closely at what's really happening around you. The closer you look, the more disturbing it gets. But it also gets clearer, and clarity, no matter how uncomfortable, is always better than ignorance. So let's pull back the curtain together. Let's examine the machinery of modern life and see what we find in the gears. Buckle up. This is going to be an uncomfortable ride. Let's start with something you encounter every single day but probably never question: the buildings around you. Architecture isn't just about creating shelter or aesthetic appeal. It's about controlling behavior, managing crowds, and shaping psychology. And when you look closely at modern architectural design, you start to see something deeply disturbing. Take public benches, for example. Notice how they've changed over the years? Many now have armrests in the middle, or they're divided into individual seats, or they're slightly tilted. Why? To prevent homeless people from lying down. This is called hostile architecture, and it's everywhere. Spikes under bridges, studs on flat surfaces, benches that are deliberately uncomfortable. Cities are being designed to exclude certain people, to make public spaces unwelcoming to anyone who doesn't fit the desired demographic. But it goes deeper. Shopping malls are designed with specific layouts that maximize the time you spend inside and the amount of money you spend. There are no windows or clocks because they don't want you to be aware of time passing. The lighting is carefully calibrated to affect your mood. The music tempo influences how quickly you walk and shop. Even the scents are engineered because certain smells trigger purchasing behavior. Corporate offices use open-plan designs that are supposedly about collaboration, but are actually about surveillance and control. When everyone can see everyone else, people self-monitor their behavior. Productivity might seem to increase, but what's really happening is the elimination of privacy and autonomy. You're being watched and you know it, so you police yourself. Even residential architecture is designed to isolate. Suburban sprawl creates car dependency and reduces community interaction. Apartment buildings minimize common spaces. Front yards disappear in favor of garages. We're being physically separated from each other by design, making us more dependent on technology for connection and more vulnerable to loneliness and manipulation. The question is, if our physical environment is this deliberately controlling, what else have we been manipulated into accepting without realizing it? Words shape reality. This isn't just philosophical, it's neurological fact. The language we use literally determines what we can think, what we can imagine, and what we can question. And if you look closely at how language has evolved in recent decades, you'll see something profoundly disturbing. It's being weaponized against us. Consider how corporations and governments use euphemisms to disguise uncomfortable truths. Downsizing instead of firing people. Collateral damage instead of civilian deaths. Enhanced interrogation instead of torture. User data collection instead of surveillance. These aren't just polite alternatives. They're psychological tools designed to make us accept things we would normally reject. But the manipulation goes deeper. Look at how political discourse has been deliberately polarized. Complex issues are reduced to binary choices. Nuanced positions are eliminated. You're either with us or against us. This isn't accidental. When language is simplified and polarized, critical thinking becomes impossible. You can't have meaningful debate when words lose their precise meanings and everything becomes tribal signaling. Social media has accelerated this degradation. We communicate in soundbites, memes, and hashtags. Complex ideas are compressed into 280 characters. Context disappears. Nuance is lost. And gradually, our capacity for deep thought atrophies. We're being conditioned to think in fragments, to respond emotionally rather than rationally, to react instead of reflect. Even the way we talk about technology reveals the trap. We say we use our phones, but look at your behavior honestly. Who's using whom? We say social media connects us, but are you more connected or more isolated? We say algorithms recommend content, but they're actually manipulating your attention and shaping your worldview. The language frames technology as a tool we control, but the reality is very different. If the words we use are controlled, then our thoughts are controlled. So what happens when we realize we're not thinking our own thoughts anymore? Look around you right now. How many screens can you see? Your phone, your computer, your TV, maybe a smartwatch, tablets, digital billboards outside. We're surrounded by screens, and we've become utterly dependent on them. But here's what's disturbing. Screens aren't just tools. They're the most effective behavior modification technology ever created. Every app on your phone is designed by teams of psychologists and neuroscientists whose job is to make you addicted. The pull-to-refresh mechanism mimics a slot machine. The red notification badges trigger anxiety that can only be relieved by checking. The infinite scroll eliminates natural stopping points. These aren't bugs, they're features. They're deliberate addiction mechanisms, and they work exactly as designed. Studies show that the average person checks their phone 96 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes during waking hours. We're interrupting our lives, our conversations, our thoughts, our sleep, constantly feeding the screen habit. And with each interruption, our attention span shrinks, our ability to focus deteriorates, and our addiction deepens. But the real disturbing part isn't just the addiction, it's what happens to your brain. Neuroscience research shows that constant screen use, especially social media, literally rewires your neural pathways. Your dopamine system gets hijacked. Your prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and self-control, weakens. Your amygdala, responsible for emotional reactions, becomes hyperactive. You're being neurologically transformed into a more impulsive, more reactive, more easily manipulated version of yourself. Children are especially vulnerable. Kids who grow up on screens show delayed social development, reduced empathy, increased anxiety and depression. Their brains are being shaped by algorithms instead of human interaction. We're creating a generation whose baseline reality is digital, whose emotional regulation depends on likes and follows, whose sense of self is constructed through screens. If screens control our attention, and attention determines our reality, then who's really in control of our lives anymore? Let's talk about something you do multiple times every day: eating. Food should be simple, natural, nourishing. But look closely at what we actually eat in modern society, and you'll discover something genuinely disturbing. Our food system isn't designed to nourish us. It's designed to addict us and profit from our sickness. Walk into any supermarket and examine the products. Most of what you see isn't really food. It's food-like substances engineered in laboratories. They're designed to hit what scientists call the bliss point, the perfect combination of salt, sugar, and fat that triggers maximum pleasure and craving in your brain. This is the same neuroscience used in drug development. Your food is literally engineered to be addictive. Look at the ingredients list on any processed food item. How many ingredients can you actually identify? How many are chemicals you can't pronounce? These additives aren't there for your health, they're there to extend shelf life, reduce costs, and enhance addictive properties. Many are known to cause inflammation, disrupt hormones, and damage gut bacteria. But they remain legal because the food industry is too profitable to regulate effectively. The nutritional guidelines you've been taught are largely created by the food industry itself. For decades, we were told fat was the enemy, which led to low-fat products loaded with sugar. Now we know sugar is the real problem, but the damage is done. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease, all have skyrocketed. And here's the disturbing part. The same corporations that make you sick also own pharmaceutical companies that profit from treating your illness. Even healthy food has become problematic. Industrial agriculture has depleted soil nutrients, so food contains less vitamins and minerals than it did 50 years ago. Pesticides contaminate everything. Factory farming creates antibiotic-resistant bacteria. GMOs have unknown long-term effects. The entire food chain has been corrupted in the name of profit. If we can't even trust the food we eat, what can we trust? And who benefits from keeping us sick, tired, and dependent? You're being watched. Right now. Every moment of every day. And the truly disturbing part isn't that it's happening. It's that you've been conditioned to accept it, even embrace it. We've built a surveillance infrastructure that would make Orwell's 1984 look primitive, and we did it voluntarily. Your phone tracks your location constantly. Every app you use monitors your behavior. Your smart TV watches what you watch. Your smart speaker listens to your conversations. Your car records where you drive. Your credit cards track what you buy. Security cameras follow you in public. Facial recognition identifies you automatically. Every keystroke, every click, every search, every message, it's all being recorded, stored, and analyzed. But here's what makes it truly dystopian. We gave up this privacy willingly. We accepted terms and conditions without reading them. We traded privacy for convenience. We wanted free services and personalized recommendations, so we handed over our data without understanding the consequences. Now that data is being used in ways we never imagined and can't control. Governments and corporations know more about you than you know about yourself. They can predict your behavior, manipulate your choices, and influence your thoughts. They know your fears, your desires, your weaknesses, and they use this information to sell you products, shape your politics, and maintain control. The panopticon is no longer a prison design. It's the architecture of modern society. The excuse is always security or convenience, but look at the results. Has all this surveillance made us safer? Or has it just made us more controlled, more compliant, more afraid to step out of line? When everyone is always being watched, self-censorship becomes automatic. You don't need guards when people police themselves. If privacy is dead, what happens to freedom? Can you truly be free when every action is monitored and every choice is manipulated? Here's something that should terrify you. You don't choose what you see online. Algorithms do. And those algorithms aren't designed to inform you or enrich your life. They're designed to maximize engagement, which means they show you content that triggers strong emotional reactions, typically anger and fear. Your reality is being curated by AI systems programmed to manipulate you. Every social media platform uses algorithms that create filter bubbles. You see content that confirms your existing beliefs and hides information that challenges them. This isn't giving you what you want, it's trapping you in an echo chamber where your views become more extreme and you lose the ability to understand different perspectives. Society is being deliberately polarized by algorithms that profit from division. These systems learn from billions of users and become incredibly sophisticated at psychological manipulation. They know when you're most vulnerable, when you're most likely to click, share, or buy. They A/B test everything, constantly optimizing for maximum control over your behavior. You're not using social media, you're being experimented on by the world's most advanced artificial intelligence systems. Search engines don't show you objective results. They show you what the algorithm thinks will keep you engaged. News feeds don't show you what's important, they show you what's trending. Recommendation engines don't suggest what's best, they suggest what's most profitable. Your perception of reality is being shaped by profit-driven algorithms that have no concern for truth, well-being, or society. And here's the really disturbing part. These algorithms are black boxes. Even their creators don't fully understand how they make decisions. They've become so complex that they're essentially alien intelligence operating according to logic we can't comprehend. We've handed control of our information ecosystem to systems we don't understand and can't control. If algorithms determine what we see, and what we see shapes what we believe, then who's really making our decisions anymore? We've reached the final revelation, and it's the most disturbing of all. Nothing you experience is entirely real anymore. Reality itself has become manufactured, mediated, and manipulated to such a degree that distinguishing between authentic and artificial has become nearly impossible. We're living in a simulation, not science fiction, but a social and psychological construct that controls how we perceive everything. Media coverage doesn't reflect reality, it creates it. Events don't become real until they're reported. Images are edited, videos are doctored, deepfakes are indistinguishable from reality. Bots and fake accounts outnumber real people online. Manufactured outrage and artificial controversies dominate news cycles. What you think is spontaneous is often scripted. What appears grassroots is actually astroturfing. The line between genuine and fabricated has dissolved. Even your memories aren't entirely your own. Studies show that photographs change how we remember events. Social media posts reshape our past. Suggestion and repetition can implant false memories. Your personal history is being constantly rewritten by external influences, and you don't even notice it happening. Your identity itself is partially manufactured by forces outside your control. Science and expertise have been weaponized. For every study, there's a counter-study funded by interested parties. For every expert, there's a contradicting expert with financial conflicts. Truth has become relativistic, not because absolute truth doesn't exist, but because it's been deliberately obscured by layers of manipulation. We're drowning in information, but starving for truth. This manufactured reality serves a purpose: control through confusion. When nothing is certain, when every truth is disputed, when reality itself is questioned, people become paralyzed. They stop seeking truth and start accepting whatever narrative is most comfortable or most loudly repeated. Critical thinking collapses. Manipulation becomes easy. If reality itself is manufactured, how do we find our way back to what's true? Or is it already too late? If you've made it this far, you're probably feeling uncomfortable, maybe disturbed, maybe angry, maybe skeptical. Good. Those feelings mean you're paying attention. The closer you looked, the more disturbing it got, exactly as promised. But here's the thing. Awareness is power. Now that you've seen these patterns, you can't unsee them. And that means you have a choice. You can go back to sleepwalking through life, accepting everything at face value, or you can start questioning, examining, and taking control of your own reality. This isn't about becoming paranoid or cynical. It's about becoming conscious. It's about recognizing the systems that shape your life and making deliberate choices instead of being passively manipulated. It's about reclaiming your attention, your privacy, your health, your thoughts, your reality. Start small. Reduce screen time. Read ingredient labels. Question narratives. Seek primary sources. Protect your privacy. Build real-world connections. Think critically. Every small act of resistance against manipulation matters. Every moment of genuine awareness chips away at the systems of control. The world we've examined today is disturbing, but it's not hopeless. These systems exist because we allow them to. We built them, we sustain them, and we can change them. But only if enough people wake up and refuse to participate in their own manipulation. So here's what I need you to do. If this video opened your eyes, if it made you think differently about the world around you, then subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that subscribe button because we're going to keep pulling back the curtain. We're going to keep examining the uncomfortable truths that most people refuse to acknowledge. And we're going to figure out together how to navigate this manufactured reality while maintaining our humanity, our freedom, and our sanity. Don't just consume this content and move on. Share it, discuss it, question it, verify it for yourself. Look closer at your own life and see what you discover. And then come back and let's continue this conversation. The closer you look, the more disturbing it gets. But the more you understand, the more power you have to change it. Subscribe. Stay aware. Stay free. I'll see you in the next one.